Hey everyone, here with Ben. I'm super excited to have you on. This has been a long-awaited episode for a lot of people in the that watch these, and I already see some people coming into the chat. Thanks for being early, guys. Dow Records, Samsonite, and then we'll kind of normally give people just a couple minutes to trickle in here. But once you pop in, feel free and say hi in the chat.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming along.
Yep. This is and okay, sweet. I always double check on the side if I'm streaming because I'm always worried, but I am. Awesome. Hey, Meg NFT, nice to see you. Hey, Mr. NFT, nice to see you. Is that a Moog Prodigy?
It's a Moog Sub 37. I bought it and it's broken, but it
Oh,
was really cheap. And so Moog very kindly sent me out the replacement bits, so they should arrive
oh, nice.
in the next 6 months at the current speed of the global postal system.
How long until it was broken or it came broken?
It came broken, but
Oh, yikes.
I got the impression from the person I was buying it from that it was probably broken, so I wasn't
Okay,
too surprised.
okay. Oh, I've never even heard of that, so sorry that I don't know what that is, but it looks cool.
It is cool. It still works fine. There's like one knob that doesn't work on it. So I did a live stream last night, and um, yeah, like that's a big part of why I'm keen on boomboxes in World and stuff like that, is so that I can play synths in World and kind of yeah get those one or two people coming along to my gigs.
Yeah, no, that'll be a lot of fun. Hey, DCL Interact, nice to see you. Oh, Mag NFT said the god himself. Ballistic Banana, nice to see you in here. Hey, Dank VR, I'll definitely be talking about you. Okay, sweet. Let's get started, and people will still hop in. But thank you guys for all of you here watching now. Um, I'm super excited to have you on. We've known each other for a little while, just through Cryptovoxels, and I was just saying that I was going to bring up Dank VR because he's the one who actually introduced me to Cryptovoxels when we
Oh,
met.
cool.
Yeah, we met at NFT NYC, not the most recent one, but the year before that. And he was just doing some weird, crazy 3D scans on my art. And I was like, hey, like, what's up? Like, what are you doing? And he started showing me, like, all of these insane things he was doing on his iPad. And then he started telling me about VR spaces on the blockchain. And I was like, what are you talking about? I've never been a gamer, and I had never at that point read like Snow Crash or Ready Player One or anything like that. So I was totally confused. And then he sort of took me on this journey briefly, but I could not stop thinking about it. And then when I finally jumped into Cryptovoxels, I was like, I'm all in. And I literally the reason why I downloaded Discord was to get in the Cryptovoxels chat. So I feel like it was like my journey into the gaming space was through, which I don't game a lot, but it was all through Cryptovoxel. So I'm super excited to have you on. Super thankful for that connection, Dank VR. So thank you. But in general, I just want to start. If you just want to introduce yourself, obviously people know who you are, and then give just a general background of how you got to what you're doing now with Cryptovoxels.
Yeah, so I'm Ben Nolan. I'm down in Wellington in New Zealand, where it's Friday afternoon. Um, Yeah, I read like Snow Crash and Ready Player One. Like I read Snow Crash years and years ago, and I've been really wanting to do virtual worlds for a long, long time. And so I've been doing different versions of virtual worlds in the browser usually, because that was kind of the technology I was used to. And then about two and a half years ago, I came across like the Ethereum. Like, so I'd heard about Ethereum when it first came out, but I started to read about programming on Ethereum and creating contracts and stuff. And I found this cool website called pixelmap.io, where it was like anyway, it was Ethereum. And I sort of realized that I could use this Ethereum contract to build a virtual world on it. So, yeah, I guess I should say that I'm the author of Cryptovoxels. Or the founder. There's like a couple of us that work here now. But I sort of started Cryptovoxels about 2 years ago. Was when the contract. What's today? Is today the yeah? So this is exactly pretty much the 2 year anniversary of the Cryptovoxel Parcels contract.
That is
So
awesome. Happy
yeah,
two
so
years.
yeah, totally. Well, I think it will have been a Friday like this 2 years ago because I had some beers, and I gave like sold the first 3 bits of land to my friends at the very center of the world, and it's so crazy to because when we started that to think that we've sold out the city now and that we're building out into the ocean, it's you could not have believed it if you told me that 2 years ago.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And even like when you think about it, even just a year ago, parcels were not doing what they're doing today. And I mean, we were growing and there was an amazing scene there, but it still was so much different. Like there wasn't even color, well, not in the full extent like there is now. Things were a
it's
lot different for sure.
it's crazy, yeah. Like I've always focused on trying to get builders in the world because the builds are the things that make it amazing and the artists in the world. And so the prices of land and working out how we dial all that in is is quite complicated. But it's I try not focus on it too much, but it is quite crazy, right? Because people were buying parcels for zero point 0.2 ether when ether was worth $100 a year and a bit ago, and I think they would probably sell for more now. I'm pretty sure if
Oh,
they
yeah.
wanted to sell their land. So it's I try and not focus on that stuff, but it is quite crazy the journey that, especially Origin City and everyone that joined Origin City, it's been a crazy, crazy ride.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. And I can say from my personal experience, and I bet a lot of people that are listening now, Cryptovoxels has become more than just like a game or investment. It has like a serious community behind it, which is why all of us are so bullish on Cryptovoxels and why it is our home base, even if we're venturing out into other worlds. We're always thinking, how could we connect this or have have a teleporting system back, like Cryptovoxels has become the hub for that, and is really like set like huge. I There's huge shoes to fill with the other projects to kind of catch up, and innovate in a way that you haven't done already. And I see a lot of ideas borrowed, which is totally awesome because more people should, you know, be doing the integrations, the frames, like all of these things that you are. But you are totally have been doing this, in my opinion, right for a really long time, which is why everyone has built friendships, built communities. I've heard of people actually even hiring through meeting people on Cryptovoxels, so that's quite special.
Yeah, no, it is. It's yeah, the community is what I really love about Cryptovoxels. Like my goals for the project long term is for it to exist for forever, and to be independent as long as we can, so that we can serve the city, so that we can make the city awesome, the islands awesome, and so that we can make a community that people can kind of build friendships and jobs and projects and art together, and that's kind of what I want to do. And it's and I've got to say it's totally overwhelming sometimes seeing what people do in the world and knowing that there's so much exciting stuff that I don't get to be a part of anymore. I remember it'd be about a year ago that I was the last time that I walked around this city and I knew every single build. Like, so I
Yeah.
kept an eye on what was built and I could go and see every single one. And about a year ago, I couldn't do that anymore. Things were getting built too fast. And so it's so bizarre to me now to walk around the city and come across art that I had no idea existed. I hadn't seen any whomps of it, hadn't seen any Twitters, no one had mentioned it. Someone has just done this cool thing in the corner of the world. And that's really humbling, I guess. Yeah. And awesome and also overwhelming, but it's
Yeah.
it's it's really fun.
Yeah, which is why I really appreciate, like, we were on the same field trip with Jin, going to the
Yeah.
different worlds. Like that was so cool, and I hadn't before seen the subway that we were in, and I don't think you had seen it before either. And you even said, "Oh, this is giving me ideas of how to do underground in a different way," and like that is just so cool that the creators on the platform are also lending their ideas to you in a way that's either direct or indirect. So I think that's pretty amazing as well. What do you think? I have a lot of questions coming in the chat that I'll probably start going over. But what to you have you expected? Like, was this kind of obviously Cryptovoxels has really blown up and become something that's huge and we know will be here for a very long time. Um, did you expect it to blow up like it did? And do you think that one of the big reasons why it did was the artists that came into the space? Because I definitely on a lot of these streams I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, Connie Digital actually introduced me to Cryptovoxels just by showing me his awesome build," and things like that, which I think is so interesting. So what's your take on just kind of like how the space grew that fast?
I didn't expect it to blow up as big as it has. Has. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, yes, I think the artist is what has made it explode. I think, there's never no turning point. You never do one. Man, my English is so good this morning. Um, there's never one decision that you made that changed the entire course of the project. There's been lots of little ones. Like building it on Ethereum was obviously a really key driver in making Cryptovoxels successful. But one morning, and I can't remember who it was, someone messaged me and said, "You know how you can put an image on the wall? Could you make it so that I could link to an NFT and just put an NFT directly on the wall?" And that took like 20 minutes to implement. I was like, "That's a great idea." And I turned that on, and I woke
The
up the
first
next
one was the
morning and
CryptoKitty, right? Or was that
yeah,
the first one to buy? I don't remember.
but there were just suddenly hundreds of these the
Yeah.
next day, and NFT art just went everywhere. And it was such a small difference in some ways. Instead of linking directly to the NFT as an image URL, you linked to the NFT on OpenSea, and you could click
Mm-hmm.
it to see more detail, and it had the little border if you owned it. That changed. That was a step change to Cryptovoxels and to my understanding. And I think also because it was interoperable with the Ethereum ecosystem. I think Cryptovoxels works from the artists, and I think also from integrating with, we try and integrate with the Ethereum ecosystem with the wider NFT community. Like we don't gatekeep which collectibles you're allowed to do in the world. If you have an NFT and if it's on OpenSea, then you can use it in world. And I try and yeah, I think artists and the whole Ethereum ecosystem has been what really has been the driver for growth of it. And we're so lucky there because we don't have to do marketing per se. Like we put
Right.
images of the world onto Twitter, and that kind of sells the world, and that's awesome. Being able to do it that way and bring people into their builds.
What do you see? I know something that I've always really appreciated is that you have always been pretty proactive and excited about interoperability, and I hear you talk about that a lot. What do you hope to see with different, either within the Ethereum block virtual world communities or outside of it? Is there anything you have in mind that you'd hope to see these platforms integrate in some way?
Yeah, so there's a few things going on. Um, I want to use more Ethereum stuff. I think we don't use enough of it. When you log in to the site and sign in with your MetaMask wallet, if you already have an ENS name, I think it should detect that and it should just work and display it with .eth alongside Cryptovoxel's name if you have it. I think stuff like that should just work. I think you should be able to do microtrans like you can do the color microtransactions in the world, but it's very rough and basic at the moment. Maybe we should support other tokens. Stuff like ENS, I think is quite cool. I think using wearables from other platforms is that's something should happen. It's kind of daft that you can't use your Decentraland hat and Cryptovoxels or vice versa.
Oh,
Um,
I'm so with you there. And I think you are very open to it, but I don't know if other platforms are quite there yet.
yeah, and it's tricky for us, right? Because like we could allow wearables from other worlds, but I don't know how we'd make them look voxely. And like, do we just break the aesthetic for compatibility? I suspect that's what actually we should do. But there's the sandbox, there's Somnium Space, there's Decentraland, and there's us who are all have NFT wearables. And so they need to be cross compatible with each other. And I think, but more than that, it needs to be if we're all at a party in Cryptovoxels and someone mentions a really cool build in Somnium, you should be able to click the link, launch straight into Somnium, and then there should be a link or a portal back to Cryptovoxels. But when
Totally.
you all go through, you should all be there at the same time. Like you don't want to lose your friends when you go somewhere new. An idea that I've been running through my head, which is because with the web it works quite well. Like you can click a link, and if you know that it's a 3D scene on the other side, you can just appear there. It might be cool for that to work with. I don't know. I don't know if there are many other web-based worlds, but I'd like to make the Cryptovoxels avatar work in. There's stuff like Mozilla Hubs and cool stuff.
Yep.
It'd be kind of neat to go to Mozilla Hubs and keep your Cryptovoxels avatar and to keep your wearables and stuff. So in terms of interoperability that way, we're working on making it so that you can load our avatars and other platforms so you can export the wearables into different things. And I don't know if anyone will use it, but we want to make it easy if anyone does decide to integrate with us. And then, I've talked with the sandbox people about supporting their NFTs as well. So Yeah, I think there's two kinds of interoperability. We want to use more Ethereum stuff for sure. Anything that makes sense to use with Ethereum, other people's renting contracts, other people's ENS names, just all that kind of clever stuff. Definitely want to do that. Interoperability between virtual worlds and also virtual worlds that aren't on the blockchain is on our list. So we're just always moving forward as we can, and it happens slowly. Lots of these ideas take a long time to get
Yeah.
through the old brain and work out what to actually do.
No, those are great ideas. And I feel like you're always, I mean, something that I've loved from the beginning, like, you are always putting something new out, which is just crazy. And now, obviously, you have a little bit more help on the team, which is amazing. But I'm always impressed by how much you're putting out. And as you're saying these ENS names, I'm thinking, like, it would be so cool to have my parcels with, like, vanity URLs. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, josie.e slash whatever it is would be quite cool. I'm going to start reading through some of these comments in the chat just to. I know there's a lot of questions that come up. Oh, and there was also a question that came in through Twitter of someone who could not be here because of time zones, but wanted to make sure I asked. So let me read that one really quick. Um, really wanted to ask Ben about okay, so I love the new skin feature in crypto with the Cryptovoxel avatars. I noticed below the color selector there's a texture map. Are there any future plans for user uploaded texture maps? And I know
Yeah,
this artist is like crazy cool 3D artist who does these insane textures, so I'm sure that's why he's asking.
yeah. We absolutely will let you just upload an image, maybe an SVG or maybe a PNG as your texture map. Um, I'm not entirely confident of how well we did the UV unwrapping, so it
Mm.
might have lots of weird creases and stuff. That's why we didn't turn it on straight away. So we'll let people do it. I can't guarantee that it'll look very good in the first cut, but longer term, yeah, we definitely want to. I think the combination of being able to wear an S on your chest, plus deleting your head and putting on like a voxelized head, plus coloring your arms, I think will start to look pretty cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love that you kind of like have given that task to the people. Like create your own werewolves, do what you want and make it look cool. And it does look pretty crazy, but in the most awesome way in my opinion. So I love that you haven't put like reins on that. Oh, and I do want to ask it in relation to that. Do you still plan? I know there was a little bit of talk of it. Do you still plan to change what the avatar looks like to make it more sort of like voxely, or do you think for now the mannequin is what it'll be?
I think it's going to be the mannequin, and it is weird because the rest of the world is voxely, and we've talked about it a few times. And Marcus, who's a developer that we've got in Melbourne in Australia, he's a really good animator slash Babylon JS developer modeler, and so I talk with him a lot about doing a more voxelized avatar if it makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. At the moment, even though it's weird, I think it kind of works somehow. I think especially with the animations, I think the kind of avatar it is shows the animations really well. And if we voxelize it, we'd have to do quite a lot of work to make it so that the um, animations looked as fluid. And so yeah, it's not on the immediate to do list actually.
Yeah,
I'm kind of okay with art person.
yeah. And Dank VR says he likes the contrast, so there's his
Hmm.
way in. Um, CV, let's see. Oh, Coldly 3D. Hey Ben, can you talk about Oculus Quest with CV?
Yes, so we got it to work on Monday, no, Tuesday, Monday. We got it at the start of the week, and I was like, we'll definitely have it released on Tuesday. Definitely have it released on Wednesday. It is now Friday afternoon, and we're still working on it. And so VR week has got extended to next week. Um, it's going to work on the Quest, and it runs reasonably well, which was quite surprising to me. It's going to work on the Rift and on the HTC Vive. I've got a Quest just in the next room there. Um, if I'm honest, I probably won't get it out done today. Like by the time I get off this call, I'm going to be pretty fried.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So but yes, it's definitely coming. Marcus has been working on it all week. We've got teleporting working better. We've got collisions. We've got the ability to walk around. You can interact with the world better. Another thing that we've been doing is parallel. Zuni's been doing is we've got this kind of big virtual space that you walk into. It's got a 4K or sort of super HD map of cryptovoxels that you can walk around. It's got a little Google Maps pointer showing
Oh,
where everyone is
cool.
on the world. So you can walk around the world, you can teleport to anywhere on the map, you can teleport to where people are, you can see all the womps in this big sphere around you, you can make them bigger, and then you can teleport to where the womps are. So that's the biggest problem with the VR support at the moment is can't go anywhere in the world. You can only spawn at the origin and then teleport yourself to the edge of the world, which takes forever. So this new navigation works really well. Super smooth. Super impressed with how well Firefox handles it. Um, yeah, and the quest support, it came together a lot better than we expected. So yeah, it might be this weekend. Otherwise, it'll be early next week to get the first versions out. I think the thing that we've realized is that the VR support is amazing. Like once you're actually in
Oh
VR,
yeah.
it's so compelling, that we're going to make it. It's not just a thing that we do for a week and then forget about it again for 6 months. I think we're going to get Zuni in particular just constantly doing it, keeping track of what works well and what doesn't work well, and then just fixing bugs, kind of making it a priority because um, it hasn't been a priority. And there's so much, like I really want to go to Hexiosis's gallery in VR. I love it
Oh yeah.
in 2D view, but like that little room where all the walls are animated GIFs, I think that'll be fantastic. Being able to teleport in there and sort of enjoy it.
We have some questions coming in, and I don't actually know what this means. If VoIP will work, VoIP.
Yes, VoIP will work definitely on
What is
Firefox,
VoIP?
not voice over IP. So
Oh,
you know
okay.
how if you hold V and you talk to
Yeah.
each other in World. So am I answering questions with the right level of detail or too much detail or not enough?
No, I think it's perfect. And
Okay.
people in the chat can comment on that, but no, I think the answers are perfect.
Okay, cool. So VoIP will work on desktop browsers for sure because we can support that. Um, on the Quest, you will be able to listen to boomboxes but I'm not entirely sure that you can transmit on the Quest. I don't know if it has a thing that pops up and asks for permission for your microphone. If they have added support for that since last time I tried, then it will work on the Quest as well.
Okay, awesome. Um, let's see. Oh, some people are saying they're reading Snow Crash now and Ready Player One. That's awesome. Um, people are saying congrats on the awesome project. Sorry, just making sure I'm not missing any. Oh, cool. Someone's getting an apartment on layaway. I'm assuming someone in the community is
Oh,
buying that for them and letting them pay
that's
as they
cool.
go. That's really cool.
So
Um,
that's the kind of thing where I want to work with Ethereum DeFi projects, right? Because if someone has a contract where you can lay away purchase a parcel, that would be super cool. Like, I'm not,
yeah.
yeah. So kind of thing that I'd like to integrate with.
How Samsonite asked, how far out in the ocean do you plan to build out?
Yeah, so this is like a whole thing, right? Because we sold out Origin City, and then we had this sort of the month where we didn't sell anything, and I talked to the community about how we want to do it. I had a really good chat with the question is infinitely, but only in response to demand. I don't want the world to like we built the way I see Cryptovoxels, the company, the people that work on it, me and Zerny and Marcus and Matt, and Stag and Nick, is we make the world better so that everyone who's already got builds in the world, every time they go there, the world just runs a bit better. It's a little bit smoother. It's got slightly nicer graphics. It's got a little more features that you can build with. It's got better social stuff. As we do that, more people will want to be in the city. And then if there's not enough room for them, then we create more land so that the people that want to join and to build in it have the ability to do that. And so we just add land as we need to let people build into the world. I've kind of got this high level goal of having 10,000 builders by sometime next year. And at the moment, I think we've got about 12, 1,300 builders. I don't know that that's a doable goal or that's and that's definitely not a goal at the expense of everything else, because it's important to me that people be able to sell the land in Origin City for at least the same price that they bought it. We don't want to devalue the world. We don't want to create vast quantities of land which are undeveloped. So there's lots of we'll keep building out into the ocean as there are people that want to buy and to build on it. Um, I think it's quite important that people go into sandboxes or they collaborate on someone else's build and you get to build stuff. That's cool. But if you want to put a lot of effort into your build and you want to buy some land, because once you buy a parcel in Cryptovoxels or a unit in a tower, that's going to be hosted in 10 years' time and it's going to be available. You can build it now, forget about it, and come back in 10 years' time and you can still visit it with your friends and have a look at your cool space. And that's quite important to me. And so that's why I want to create land that people own. You know, and as we need more land, we'll kind of build it. The world in total, I think, is 36 kilometers by left east to west and 18 kilometers north to south. I doubt that we'll ever get anywhere near that size. I doubt that we'll ever create an island even half the size of Origin City. So it's we're going to trickle out into the island, and there'll become the chains of islands and stuff. But um, I'm only ever looking a couple of weeks ahead at a time. Where I don't have a grand plan for it. If people stop wanting to move to Cryptovoxels, the world, then we'll stop creating new land. That's basically how it goes.
Yeah, I think an interesting idea based on what you were just saying. I would love to see, like, because initially when the community and you were talking about the islands, like a lot of people were thinking, okay, like lower price housing basically. So I
Mm,
would love to see that idea take form in the way of having lower price housing. I don't know exactly how it would work because I'm not technical, so I'm just like dreaming here. But have a limit of one per wallet, which I know could be gamed, but in general, one per wallet, and allow people to basically um, lease it for a month or two for zero point 0.1 ETH or whatever it is, and then that goes to their purchase price. Once they've proved that they've built it out, then they can buy it fully. I think that would be amazing because then you would literally, all of the purchased land would be built on.
yeah,
So, of course, when you were talking about earlier connecting to other Ethereum projects and DeFi apps, like that would be really cool to see.
it's funny because like I definitely wait up. I'm just gonna can you make me coffee, please? Wait, smiley face. Um,
I love the smiley face at the end.
well, my wife's just feeding my daughter, so I think if I'm lucky, she might make me a coffee in a bit. Um, uh, the thing with that is, I love that idea, but I sort of don't want to do it as Cryptovoxels, the company that creates the land and stuff. I'd love for people to do that in world. And what I
Hmm.
would love, ideally, would be we'd create an island and we'd assign it to some kind of distributed group or DAO or something like that. That then totally ran a system like that where you paid a little deposit, you did a build, people liked you, or you gave them the land for super affordably, or just some kind of vetting system. I think one is me and Zuni and Marcus don't have the time to do a good job with that and to run it
Right.
well. And I wouldn't want to do it as an automated system. I feel like stuff like this initially should be very labor intensive because you should be
Totally.
talking to the people and you should be reviewing their art, and you shouldn't just be saying no, that's not good enough art, or it should. It's a very it's a very personal kind of thing,
Totally.
because there's just a lot of complicated stuff there, and I would absolutely support anyone who wants to do that, and I will give an island to that, and then we'll work out how that island is paid. You wouldn't have to pay for it up front. We'd work out how that money gets fed back into the company to pay for ongoing development and
Right.
stuff. So
Like
if
how
people have a
Conlon did with Gangnam, kind of.
yeah, exactly. Like and that was quite contentious at the time, but I really wanted to support Conlon because he did amazing stuff. And one thing that I totally didn't realize is that but I think Bailey told me about Origin City Markets is that they bought up Origin City Market by getting in on the Wednesday sales and buying them all, and they built this cool market. And then one person had a white box in the middle of it, and then by the time they'd finished building the market and realized they didn't own this parcel, they had to go to that person and say, "Hey, look, you probably don't want this parcel, eh?" And he's like, "Oh no, it's right in the middle of your market. You have to pay me three times what it's actually
Yeah.
worth." And so, if you had an island which were all artists and collaborators like you, that would be fantastic. If you were an artist and you were on an island of other artists and everyone did cool builds, I think that would be awesome in terms of the the vitality of that island. And so I definitely want to support that, but it feels weird for me, for our company, or for our
Right.
Cryptovoxels, the people that make the rendering engine and the game and make it sort of work in the servers, to also be the people that say, "Oh, your art's not good enough. You don't get to
Right.
like, live on this
Yeah.
island."
And it's interesting because I feel like a lot of people who aren't like either weren't creative in their past life have come into Cryptovoxels and really found something that they can do and they can do well. And I know some people that are using simple textures on tiles and make things look like absolutely insane and so cool. And then there's people like a lot of money and Devil and like all of these insanely talented
Yeah,
builders that are doing super detailed work with Vox models. So there's such a different balance, and I definitely don't think you have to be an artist to make something really cool in Cryptovoxels. I'd always be more than happy to be a part of that sort of island thing if you'd like, but
yeah,
and with a group as well, because I think that's a great idea to have a group sort of leading that and helping each other and just like whether it's picking a theme or just making sure, seeing if anyone needs help, and then at the same time that actually for newbies that want to come in, they have a group that they're automatically connected with and that they can ask questions to, which I think would be really fantastic. I
Yeah.
think that also did answer one of the questions. DAO Records said, Ben, have you thought about turning CV into a DAO? So you didn't say turning it into a DAO, but you did mention using one for something.
Yeah, so like I haven't read enough about them to say whether it's a good idea or not. Um, I don't exactly know how Cryptovoxels, like the company that creates the land and that uses that to pay for development. I don't know exactly how that's going to look in 10 years' time. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not opposed to the idea. I think it works quite well with me and Marcus and Zuni coming up with ideas and just putting them out. And so, although it's surprising for people sometimes, I think it's I kind of like the way the development goes at the moment. I don't know that it'll always work forever this way. I don't know that we won't be open source one day. I don't know that we won't be on IPFS with no servers. And there's lots of different ways that it could work out in the long term. But for now, yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about DAOs to answer that question. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. DZL Blogger made it an interesting point. DAO is a good concept, but annoyingly slow to implement. Um,
Yeah, exactly. Like I couldn't wake up in the morning and be like, "Hey, we should have NFTs instead of just images," and just release that because I understand everyone votes on it and stuff, which is super interesting. I would love for some of the islands to be DAOs. That would be fantastic.
and then we did have Dink VR mentioned um, the NFT unlocking zones in CV, which you were chatting about
Yeah,
recently, and I think would be so epic. I would love that.
yeah, and it's funny because when I had the idea, I was like, "Oh, it's weird. I don't want to make parts of Cryptovoxels you can't go to," but I totally want to make parts of Cryptovoxels that you
Yeah,
can't go to. Like, ideally, hopefully, these won't be extremely difficult to get, but or
right.
hopefully, like if you want to go to amazing builds like a lot of money's hotel, maybe it's quite easy to get a token to get into it. But yeah, I actually think it would be. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a
Oh
really
yeah.
cool idea.
Imagine if like even everyone who comes to the whip meetups, they have a special lounge if they own a certain wearable that they've even received for free for attending those from the guest book. Or even I'm thinking, with a gallery that I have, I would love to have a huge gallery that everyone can visit, but maybe the basement. You can only visit if you hold a token by me. So you can explore everything, but then there's this like kind of secret space within the
Yeah,
build, which I think would be honestly epic.
I think that's a really cool idea. And yeah, and that's the thing is it's not so it's not really creating exclusivity, taking the existing community and only letting some people into it. It's like probably most people are going to own some token or some collectible which will give them access to a bunch of cool areas. It's more saying we're encouraging you to log in, we're encouraging you to collect NFTs, we're encouraging you to support artists because you get access to these extra cool things by having that. And yeah, and just connecting to NFTs is such a cool idea because yeah, if you own a Josie artwork, then you get to go to Josie's basement. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Um, we did have a quick question. Easy and Crypto said, how many, or do you know when there will be more slots for wearables, or if there will be?
Yeah, so there will be. It's like a performance issue. So when you go to the Token Smart things, there's like 100 people and like 40 people, like 40% of those people have avatars. And then for every avatar, that's one draw call. And then for every wearable, that's another draw call. So that's like 6 draw calls per avatar.
Wow.
Um, if you've got a fast computer, that doesn't really matter. You can render thousands of draw calls. If you've got a weak computer, or if you're on the Xbox, that really kind of hammers it. So that's why we've got the limit in there. There's lots of ways that we can improve that and make it merge the avatars so that they render faster on different computers. So it's the same with all the stuff in Cryptovoxels. The limit's there at the moment for performance. As we work out how to do it faster, we'll definitely increase the number of wearables you have. I think, within a year, it should totally be possible to replace every part of your body with a wearable and it should render fast. But I say a year, it might be 2 years, but hopefully sooner than that.
Yeah. Um, Ballistic Banana said, what's the plan with empty parcels?
Yeah, so the plan is to make them sandbox if no one's ever built on them. And that's just basically the plan. I kind of want to do something cooler than just making them sandbox because sandbox parcels don't seem like they're being used that much at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to do something cool at the same time, just to make it slightly more compelling. I think what it might be actually is, I think, yeah, something like if you're a builder and you've got an adjoining parcel, or if you've got a certain kind of token or something, then you can claim an abandoned parcel, and then you can just build on it like it's your own, and no one else can delete your stuff. But it will revert back to obviously, if the owner comes, they will immediately get full control of the parcel. There's just, I haven't quite worked that out yet, but there's some kind of spin on it to make it slightly more interesting. Either that, or just make it so that everyone has this cool palette of a whole bunch of graffiti that you can throw up. So it can be spider webs, and it can be overgrown
Mm-hmm.
trees, and it can be cool tags and stuff. And then you can just put them all. There's something in there that I haven't quite worked out yet, but they will become sandbox. They will be editable. If you come back, we'll never take them off the owner. So if someone buys the land and then never comes to the world, then comes back in 2 years' time, as soon as they come back, they can delete the land. They can do exactly what they want to do with it.
Right.
So that's the plan.
I do kind of like the idea of having like, because at least in Origin City there's such different themes for each neighborhood. Like I would love to have like community created um, assets for the blank parcels in like in kitties. I have a ton of cat voxel that I use for my puzzle. Like, what if we had like a cool green space with like voxel kitties all around, and then axes, and had kind of like um, a themed kind of empty plot asset thing. And I'm even thinking of like Easy and Crypto does really cool plants and stuff like that. That would be quite an
Yeah,
interesting. It would make every
I,
neighborhood different, at least.
exactly. I think something like that might be the solution to it. And because, yeah, I think if we just made random sandbox everywhere, that instead of having like a nice, well, not a nice, but I actually think it looks okay when you go to an undeveloped bit with just a bunch of kind of outlines of where something might happen in the future. If it's instead a random pile of garbage voxels, or garbage boxes everywhere, I don't know if that would be an improvement. But I think if we're
Yeah.
like, hey, this is your community, here's the kind of cool things that you can use to, so that it's, and you should be able to do pop-up stores, and you should be able to put boom boxes, and you should be able to play gigs inside these abandoned parcels. So yeah, we definitely will work on that.
I like that. Ballistic Banana asked, what happened to the island that company was apparently having?
Yeah, so I talked to them, and probably still gonna do it. Um, I guess I didn't actually ask them whether I could say who it was. Yeah. So man, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still in the works.
It's still in the works, and also like they support a lot of new projects, so I'm kind of wondering. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't quite worked out how to do it yet. And also, I didn't want to charge them a whole bunch of money for it. That's the other thing I realized, is the way I was going to do islands was just to sell the whole island for a bunch of ether, and then they could redistribute it. As I talked to them more, I realized this doesn't really make sense for you guys in some ways. If you're just going to be promoting new projects with it, if that's the purpose of your island, I don't think that we should be asking for a whole bunch of money to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was way too blunt a tool, and I don't know exactly how I would distribute an island to a DAO that would then maybe pay back for it in the future. But I
Right.
want to work out how to do that, and that's why I haven't done that for now.
Got it. And sorry, guys, that I was backed up on the questions. You guys are just really inquisitive tonight, which is awesome. Um, will Harburger tax work for the artist island?
People keep saying Harburg attacks. If you explain to me how we do it all, and and how to build it, and how it would tie into the main contract and stuff,
Then maybe.
yeah, yeah, totally. Like,
All
I'm
right.
totally in support of it. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
cool idea in theory. Yeah.
I hadn't heard people talking about that before, so I was confused. Um, Spidey Monkey, why not put notifications on the website and highlight unbuilt parcels so owners can enable Sandbox and show a list of Sandbox parcels for people to build on? Yeah, I think a list would be nice.
We actually made a list of them, and I mustn't have deployed that, or I've broken it. Because I'll ask Ernie about that, because she totally built that a couple of weeks ago. So if it's not on the website, I must have broken it.
Elter123, can we have a voting system like DAO for landowners? So I wonder, maybe that's a good, we can go into a broader question with that. I know a while ago people were talking about having like mayors for different areas that we can pick like the whole floor color or certain things implement certain things. So I guess what's your opinion on that sort of thing?
I don't think people want mayors, is my vibe. I do think the city should self-govern and choose its own colors. Maybe that means that in some suburbs, you're like in Gangnam, uh, Conlon
Mm-hmm.
should be the mayor, obviously. In other areas, maybe you don't really want one. Maybe you just want to agree together. Maybe one person's the only person who's really doing any development in West End, so they should build there. I think I love the idea of self-organizing. I think the city should be able to decide on its own things. Should design your own, like you said, your own tile set and your own kind of default voxels for an area. Um, I don't know how we go from. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I really like how Cryptovoxels, like, I've never had to ban content. I've only ever asked, two people to change content, and they did. I like that when people build stuff that impacts your parcel, you can normally message them and say, "Hey, can you just delete that massive green thing above your parcel because it's killing
Yeah.
my view?" I really think that Cryptovoxels, the company, me, and the people that are working on it, should make the world better and run better. And I think we should enable people to self-organize to make the city what it is, and to give them enough control, enough ownership, and have that recorded in the blockchain, so that it's not pretend ownership. It's not us saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, you get to do it," but actually you have control of that. That's encoded somewhere, and people should self-organize to that. And if we're going to do that, I don't think we should say that you have to have a mayor. Like, maybe, like the anarchist squat area probably doesn't want a mayor. Maybe they wouldn't call it a mayor. Maybe they just kind of vote together. So yes, I think is that. I don't know if I went a
Sorry, I
little
don't
bit
know
off
if you
track
can.
answering that question. Idea of self-organizing, but I'm not sure about.
Sorry,
Oh, are we still
you
working?
you paused for just a second. You're back now. So
Oh yeah, yes, I wasn't sure
yeah,
if
it's
I
a
answered that
complicated
question
yeah, it's a
properly.
complicated question. So it, your
I
thought
definitely
process.
want people to. I want there to be people to in suburbs to be able to control their suburb, and if that is with a mayor, then that's the best way to do it. But if you're anarchists, you probably don't want a mayor, so you've got some other control system, and I want to support that. And I'm not exactly sure how that will all hang together.
Oh, is your coffee on its way?
No, my.
um, Spidey Monkey asked, "Can we add WebSockets back into the world if they only load when a user clicks to connect it?"
uh, there's a couple of different ways I want to solve that. Um, to answer it in a kind of a higher level way, at the moment, if you have a door in the world, when you click it to open, it only opens for me. And if you're watching me, I just walk straight through a closed door because you don't see the
Mm.
door open. I'm gonna fix that in an easy way somehow, so that scripts run for the same for everyone. And I suspect, because we've got my friend Stig working for us, who's really good at servers, I suspect we're just going to run a whole bunch of little simulators for all the parcels, so there'll be a little server somewhere that runs your scripts. You won't have to pay for it. We'll just run it as part of our grid. So all the scripts run for everyone, which means you can play multiplayer games, which means you can do physics-based stuff on the server, which I know Spidey's been doing. So
Yeah. Which is
yeah,
really exciting. Like these mini games in World, I feel like will be total game changers.
the funny thing about Cryptovoxels is I used to do a project called Scene VR well before Cryptovoxels, and it was a lot of the same technology, web based and stuff. And it had all these kind of, you built stuff in Blender and you walked around it and explored. And I did it for a long time, and then Mozilla replicated a lot of the ideas in A-Frame, and I stopped working on it. The thing with Symbiont is that I built it from the start up to be multiplayer games the entire time. So everything you saw was exactly the same as everyone else saw. That was the core technology. Nothing was ever different from me and for you. We all saw the exact same version of the world. And that was a very, very important thing to me. And when I built Cryptovoxels, I was just trying to build a better Ethereum based version of CNVR. But yeah, like this core tenet that was in my previous projects of having a shared world where we all see and we can all play games together, like doesn't work at all in Cryptovoxels yet, even though it's like a really important thing to me. So it's definitely something that's on my mind. There's so much work just keeping everything, all the plates up in the air. But at some point, the world will become lockstep for everyone. Everyone will see the same thing. You'll all, and that's quite important to me. That you can play multiplayer games and stuff. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. I could imagine like games where the first like 3 people that win that day get some cool wearable or some
Yeah,
fun
totally.
giveaways.
A scoreboard on the wall of people
Yeah.
that did the best playing arcade games today. Yeah.
And actually, when you just said school, it reminded me, and this wasn't even a comment that came in for this stream, but I remember Steady, who's building a school in Cryptovoxels. I don't know if you know about this huge
No, I
project that
didn't.
he's working on. He actually, in real life, works in education, and he has a whole company that he started called um, uh, VR for EDU, and he's like having like actual like real
I have
teachers
heard
that
of
he's
that.
gonna
Yep.
come and teach in Cryptovoxels and kind of have like a hub for all of this education there. And I remember he was asking if there was going to be compatibility for the Go, because he thought, because that is an approachable, or that is a price point that schools would actually buy for students, the headsets for students. But I'm not
Yes.
familiar with the Go.
Yeah, so the Go is like the Oculus Quest, but it's like a headset-based one where it's got it's wireless and it's got basically an Android phone inside it that does the rendering. I mean, I had an Oculus Go. The thing with Oculus Go is that it can detect when you rotate your head like this, but not when you move from side to side, and so it makes me want to throw up straight away. The Oculus Quest has got cameras which face outwards, and as you move your head around, it senses that the world is moving and it sort of shifts with it. So it's quite a big difference. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about schools because yeah, the Go is like a quarter of the price of the Quest, so it's probably a lot more affordable, and kids probably have rock solid stomachs and probably can handle it. Um, yeah, the
Just an interesting thought that I wanted to make
yeah,
sure
it's an
you at
interesting
least
thought.
knew
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah, yep,
Um,
yeah. Thank you.
cool. Let's see what other questions came in. Samsonite, what are your thoughts on CB having its own native currency, like DCL with Mana?
So we've got color, um, and we're using it a little bit. I think it's the thing with color, like mana represents the value of the Decentraland project because it's get burnt and there's only a certain amount of it, and so you're using, if you hold mana and if they do their project really well, then mana might go up 10 times in value. The color coin I want to be a utility. I don't know what the word for it is, but I want you use it in world, but it doesn't represent the value of the project. The only thing that sort of, if you own land might go up in value over time, but if you own color, don't expect it to go up because I want it to basically be tied where one color is worth $1 because I just want you to be able to use it and kind of not have to do any mental arithmetic for how much you're paying to play this arcade game or how much you're tipping this person or how much money you're giving to the DJ. I don't know. I've messed up color a little bit. You used to have to use it to build in world, and so people
Right.
bought it to do that. Then we let everyone use color for free, and then we devalued color. So I've made some really dumb mistakes with it, and I'm not entirely sure what the best thing to do going forwards with it is and how to make it right by everyone. I've got a record of everyone who bought color, so I can top them up with a faucet once we get the new price stabilized and stuff. Even setting it as a semi-pegged stable coin is hard. It's hard. I've made some dumb mistakes and I don't know how to make it better. I do definitely want to have a microtransactions in world, which means either running on POA or one of the other side chains or Matic or something like that. Um, that stuff's definitely doable. How color ties into that, how we use color for it, how we move it across. I talked to Austin Griffith the other day, and he made it seem so fucking simple and awesome. But whenever I sit down and write the to-do list of making microtransactions work really well in world, having a good in-world currency, it really bends my brain. So I think I just need to have more chats with Austin and kind of absorb some of his positivity about the entire space.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to your point with saying that you've made some mistakes with how you've done color in the past, I mean, like to hit on what we were talking about earlier, the community is really amazing, and I think people are understanding. And if there's some way to, there's a handful of people who have bought a lot of color. Like, there's no way there's a massive group of people that's bought a ton.
Yeah.
So making it right, at least for those people, I'm sure you could figure out, what to do and move it in the way that you want it to be moved. Especially like we are still so early.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And like sometimes I'm just like maybe we should just adopt a different coin or let people use whatever coin they want to, just select the coin that they use in world. But there's some real advantages with having our own coin that because also we could move it onto different platforms. If the color is always at ERC20, but then for a while we run it on POA, or then if we ran it on a different network, yeah, no, and that's the thing is there's just a bunch of different ways to solve it. And I think I do want to solve. Well, obviously I do want to solve it. I just haven't kind of worked out all the steps yet, and that's like a slightly annoying thing with Cryptovoxels is there's lots of stuff that I want to solve, but I don't think you can kind of muscle through them. I think sometimes you just got to wait until the right kind of thing appears, until the right person messages and says, "Hey, have you heard of this?" or "Have you tried to do it like
Right.
that?" But it's very frustrating when you're on the inside of it and you're like, "I just want this to exist. I just want this to be a good, useful function."
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can hear the coffee grinder. It's quite exciting.
Yes. Um, the Easy in Crypto had an interesting question. I wanted to be able to throw wearables like you can throw color for a rap battle. Would that be possible?
That's a great idea.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So we've got physics running in the world now. So we can sense where all the walls are, and we can bounce stuff off them, and we can kind of like when you shoot color around in the world, you can see each other's color. So
Yep.
that kind of code could totally be extended out to have passing wearables around. So yeah, that's quite doable.
Cool idea. DCL Anorak. Are there plans to support land wearables marketplace on the official Cryptovoxels website or only OpenSea moving forward?
Man, OpenSea works real good. Like we take it down every Wednesday, which makes me
Yeah.
laugh. But I think that's because my code, I just press the button too many times and it hammers the servers. But I really like not having to run that ourselves. I really like not having to build it. OpenSea do a great job. They're really nice people. Um, if there was, yeah, I'm really happy using them for other stuff. I don't know if there's much going on in other marketplaces, but yeah, I don't know. I just it's
Yeah. I feel
the
like
let the let
OpenSea is the place to be at,
yeah, and the
in my
least we have to
opinion.
do is, it's like this renting thing. Like a couple of people have come up with me for the ideas for how to run renting contracts, and I will definitely implement one of them because I don't think we're going to get around to ever building a better one ourselves. And I think using other people's stuff is the whole point of Ethereum, right? Is you don't invent everything, you use other people's stuff.
Interesting. So, a question that I just thought of and I feel like I just forgot. Dan, you were saying something and I was like, oh, I have a question about that, but I just forgot what I was going to say. Um, but no, I think that's a good idea, especially the renting would be really interesting to see done through a platform that ideally where you don't have to give over the piece of land because that I've heard some platforms that were thinking about that where it have to the actual land has to be like escrowed somewhere, which I don't really like that idea. But I guess it depends on who the platform is.
The
Um,
renting proposals that I've been sent were a little bit too complicated in my mind. Like yeah, to me, I think it should be quite straightforward and you should stake ownership of it. And it's the way Cryptovoxels work. You should just say, hey, while you own it, I won't touch it. I'm still the owner. I can do whatever, but I'm letting you use it, and that's
yeah,
just sort of an agreement, like, um, I don't think it needs to be an escrow. I don't think it needs to be controlled by someone else. It needs to be all that stuff. I think you can just be like, I trust you. You're a cool landlord. You'll let me build on it while I pay for it.
yeah. Um, Elter123 asked, "What are your plans to onboard more users? Maybe experimenting with different auction buy models. I found it a little challenging as a new landowner."
Sorry, I totally got distracted by this pot of tea. What was that
Oh,
question
no
again?
worries. What are your plans to onboard more users? Maybe experimenting with different auction buy models. I found it a little challenging as a new landowner.
Yeah, so the main answer to that is Fortmatic, and took me a really long time to realize that I'm going to end up using Fortmatic, and I was kind of like, maybe we should use Bitsky, or maybe we should use something else or whatever. But I'm pretty sure at some point I'm going to turn on Fortmatic so you can log in with the email address, so if you don't have a wallet, you can join the world. That's part of it. Another part of it is I really like doing the crazy Wednesday auction sale. It's really exciting from our point of view, and it
Mm-hmm.
means that we have all of the revenue for the week kind of sort of done, and we can kind of get going on stuff. But it's not very friendly to Europeans and to people in India because the time zones are totally crazy. I think eventually we should list land more often so that you can just kind of purchase it and kind of join in the world, and we'll kind of lose that excitement of having the crazy rush. But I suspect that's what we want to do. Um, those are the two main things. The next ones would be to put it in the Steam store if like the standalone app worked well. It would, and the next one would be to, if this VR support works well, to get a version of it in the Oculus store or the Steam VR store. I don't think that's going to get us a ton of people, but I think the people that it does get will be really cool and interested in virtual worlds, and so it'd be really exciting to have them in the world and to have them part of our community. In terms of getting 10 million people like Minecraft or Fortnite, no idea. It's like maybe we'll have like 100,000 people in the world in 5 years' time. That will completely blow my mind. Maybe we'll have 1 million people by that stage, like 1 million builders. That would be absolutely amazing. The steps to get there, I don't exactly know them all. The ones we have at the moment are so, you know, first, grade one, day one stuff. We should have, you know, a wallet like Formatic to log in. Just yeah, there's a long way to go. I don't know all the steps. I am going to eventually start working on them, but for now, I'm really loving. That's the thing with Cryptovoxels is that when it was like last year, it was impossible to understand. Like when you first started going in there, Josie, there's no instructions. There's like three
Yeah.
lines on the code that says how to do it. No one knew what MetaMask was. No one knew how to buy it. No one knew how to go to OpenSea. I didn't explain any of it, but still people would come in and do these amazing builds. The build instructions were terrible. That there weren't build instructions. It was
Yeah, I
just
was like,
like
I don't know if there were any actually, but okay. Yeah, no, that's true. I remember like one of the first builds I put up, my parcel was right next to Jin's, and I put up it's when we could upload like an entire Magic voxel, um,
yeah.
like 126 by 126. So I uploaded an entire room, like with that fireplace and chairs. And I didn't realize the sizing, and I'd completely covered Jin's plot, the sidewalks, like literally everything. And it was in black and white, and I was like, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. And there was no scaling or anything. So I had to go back to Magic Voxels and like count how many voxels I was using on each side to figure it out. But it's
like
fun. It's fun the process and growing with the
it,
project.
it is fun, and it's like I there's something there I don't understand. Like Minecraft used to drive me crazy when I played Minecraft because it didn't have a manual or instructions, and you had to go to this wiki just to work out how to use the crafting table to build the things that you wanted in the world. And I was like, why did they make this so complicated? They could have made this so easy and nice. And oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Thank you. And I there is some kind of magic in it being slightly obtuse, and I don't want to intentionally make it hard for people, but also, yeah, I don't know. I've tried to make a building as easy and as sort of understandable and intuitive as we can, but I also feel like you don't have to crazily handhold stuff. I think you just, at the moment, I think it kind of attracts a certain kind of personality who kind of digs into it. Like, when you get that synthesizer, it's got a bunch of very strangely labeled knobs, and I know what they all do now, and I love them, and everyone else who plays them knows what those knobs do too. But when you buy the manual, it doesn't sort of super handhold it. You got to do quite a lot of learning to work that out. And
Right.
I feel like Cryptovoxels is okay at the moment, that it's a little bit tricky to start to understand and get your way into. There are things which we absolutely don't document well enough or explain well enough. The scripting support engine is terribly documented and needs to be much, much better, because I have so much respect for people that put their time into to program. We should make that as easy as possible. Um, yeah, there's a line to walk. I think we're a little bit too hard to get into at the moment, but I don't think it needs to be easy enough for my mum just yet.
Totally. And I mean, there's a little help menu that tells you the basic commands to do certain things. And
Yeah,
also the amazing part of it, again, and I know I'm harping on this, is if you don't know something, you can ask in the Discord, and there will probably be 12 people that answer you all at once. So it is
yeah,
kind of like this connection that you have. And I know people have helped me with different things I had questions on. I've helped other people, and it's like we've built a friendship through going back and forth with things like that. So I think for at least that part, I don't know anything about the scripting, so I'm sure that probably needs work if you say it does. But for the building, I think we're at a good point. Spidey Monkey said, "Could you just sell collaborator rights as a new CV NFT with a parcel ID and date range, and then handle the collaborator rights on that parcel based on the owner of the NFT, regardless of your of owner of the parcel?" So you're
yeah. So
saying
that's
sell a separate leasing NFT?
yes. So that's my idea. So if we have to build it, that's what we'll build, and if someone else builds that and does a good job of it, we'll use theirs.
Okay. Um, oh, cool. Someone just brought up their cool project. Agrocat self-discovery equals emotional investment. Totally. Easy in crypto needs scripting class in yeah class in the school. Yes, I actually think Steady does have some videos linking to failures. YouTube videos about some scripting things, which is quite
Yeah.
cool. And then Spidey's always doing insane scripting things that I don't understand, like those cool NPCs. Like, did you see that the people he just had walking around like in an area, or
No, that's
like
awesome.
voxel models just like walking around in a certain bounds, which was really cool. Um,
It's funny
Awesome.
with NPCs because I I sometimes think it'd be cool to record with people's permission where people go and then play them back as ghosts. So they're
Mm,
clearly not a real person. But when you walk into a gallery, it's kind of cool to see that there are other people that explored it with you. I always thought it was strange with always thought it was strange with Second Life. You'd go there and it was really hard to find groups of people and it was big and empty. And I was like, when I build a virtual world, it's gonna always have lots of people in it. And if you go to Cryptovoxels, you can teleport to where people are, but most of the time, most of the world's empty. And
yeah.
so you kind of have to build the world for it's like going to it's like going to Amsterdam in winter and going to the museums in the morning. There's all this amazing stuff, but weirdly there's no one there. And if you go to an event, there's lots of people in Cryptovoxels. I sometimes wonder it'd be cool to show that there are people in the world, but they're not in the same time zone as you, or they're here an hour or so behind you. I don't know if we'll do that. It's also weird recording people's behaviors and playing them back, even if they give us permission to. So I don't know. Yeah,
Well, also, I mean, do we still have the heat map or no? Was that? I don't know if
it was
it's still.
something weird about the heat map where it was just one big homogenous blob. Like I thought there would be hot points, but there
Yeah.
was something wrong with the way I was doing the maths where just looked at the entire city was red, and so
Mm,
I kind of turned it off because I didn't understand it.
yeah.
One day I'll probably sit down and dig into that again. With this thing that Zuni's been working on, you can see the clusters of people on the map in the world and then teleport them. So I think we'll make that available. Basically we're going to put maps. When you go to cryptovoxel/map, that's going to have dots showing where everyone is in world
Mm.
at the same time. It's obvious improvement.
And it could be really cool, like when you look up a restaurant or a store on Google and it tells you like which are the peak times that people are
Oh,
in a
that's a good
certain
idea.
location. That could be pretty awesome because you're like, it tracks just the general data of who is where instead of like individual people. And then you can say, oh,
Yeah,
at 7 p.m., every single Wednesday, this place is hot. I wonder why. There must be an event there every Wednesday. Speaking of, I would love to see like a calendar on Cryptovoxel's website. Decentraland has a pretty cool calendar where they have meetups that are like people actually RSVP to. And I don't know if you need to do something that formal, but I love the idea of having an events page.
no, I was just actually about to mention that. I want to do an events page, and I can just smash that up pretty quick. So I'm going to make a rough one of that. Probably quite similar to the Decentraland one. But the other thing is, I jumped in the world just before and then played this other synthesizer because I've got several, and streamed it in world. And I thought next to the want button in the menu bar, or there should be a drop down saying advertise my event now, and it should pop up on the front page. You should be able to say, I'm playing synths right now, or me my friends are hanging out here right now. And just while you're there, it should be the events page. So as well as being a calendar for the future, it should also be I'm doing something in world that you're welcome to come and join. Like I'm doing a performance or I'm doing a talk or I'm walking through and doing stuff, because a lot of that stuff is ad hoc. You don't know you're going to do it until suddenly you do. So I think a combination of a calendar slash something's happening right now if you want to come and join me, or invitation to come and join me what I'm doing. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to do those, and those are quite that's very straightforward. So that'll happen.
Yeah, and Dow Records did have a point that said WOMP works well for that kind of like the pop up, like, oh, I want to do this, which is true because I
Yeah,
actually I love the WOMP page, and often I just see people hanging out somewhere, and that's how I found out about like the Sugar Club opening. I wasn't following them at the time, so I didn't know a lot about them. I didn't know they were doing this event, and I saw like a really cool WOMP of all of these people, and I was like, I'm missing out on something. So I went and it was so cool. I was like, Jin, hop in here and videotape this. This is so cool. Because the music was awesome, the lights were awesome. So the WOMP page is actually you were thinking that it was going to kind of be a flop, but I think it's been pretty cool.
oh, I think it's now that you mention it, what it should do on the events calendar, it should show you current WOMPs or WOMPs where there are people at the WOMP, like a little count of so if someone post their event and it says there are 50 people at this WOMP site right now, you go, oh, well, that's definitely popping off, so I should popping up. So uncool. But yeah, I should definitely I should definitely go there.
That's okay. I said the word bogus to my sister the other day, and she was like, "Bogus?" And I was like, "Oh, maybe okay, maybe that word is really." Um, can we get a notification in real life for those? Oh, for the events, so like connecting it to your Google Calendar or something.
Yeah, that's so I totally like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
make a ICS export for it. Good idea.
And I guess how would people like are people allowed to post their own events on that, or would that have to be approved?
I'm just going to let everyone do it, and hopefully no one spams it. And if they do, then I'll be annoyed and build something better.
Yeah. Or you could just have a mod kind of like kick them off in some way.
Yeah, well, and you have to be logged in with your wallet to
Yeah.
beep the boops. So yeah.
And then we'll know who's being really annoying and we'll shame them in the Discord. Um, oh, Dow Records had an obscene parcel next to him and or her, and they said they figured out how to fix it. So I'm gonna check that out later. TCL Interact. Ben's laugh is so infectious. That's true. You have a good laugh.
Thank you.
How about a real, and these are really great questions coming in. I kind of like this. Sorry, it's been like just totally an AMA sort of, but it's kind
Yeah.
of nice hearing what people are interested in. Um, how about a real world doorbell, like Ring camera notification to the real world? Huh, that's an interesting idea. I feel like that'd be
That already
complicated.
exists. There's the call bell, and it'll message you on Discord, and it might be broken at the moment. I don't know if anyone uses it, but
Oh,
I totally had that idea, and I thought it was a cool idea. We might make them work in a slightly different way, especially if we ever have an iPhone app. Please, Steve Jobs, allow us. Then it would be cool to send a notification to your phone, and then you could warp in from your phone and kind of hang out with people, because it makes a lot of sense, right? Like you might build a
yeah.
cool stop. You're not going to stand in the shop constantly, but if someone walks in and they walk through a motion sensor or they press a bell explicitly to call you, it'd be cool to be able to walk in and chat with them and be like, hey, yeah, these are my shoes, you should buy one, stuff like that. That's definitely a use case that we should make work better.
Awesome. And Spidey Monkey said Womp Discord channel question mark. Yes, that would be really awesome.
Whoa, that's a good idea. Yeah, good idea, Spidey.
Um, Real Salmon, maybe landowners could receive color for reaching visit milestones and use color for things being featured, etc. That's interesting.
So I bought a bass guitar once, that one up there, and I went to the guy's house and I bought the bass guitar and the amp, and it had like a cool strap on it, and it had some picks, and it had like a cable that plugs the guitar into the thing. And I gave him the money, and he took the strap off it, and he took off the cable, and he put it away. He's like, "Oh, you just paid for the guitar and the thing. You have to go buy your own strap and your thing." And I was like, I left that, and I was like, I'm never ever gonna penny pinch people like that. And that was partly with why I kind of nerfed color, is because I don't want people to pay extra for stuff. Once you pay for Cryptovoxels, you're in. And I know it doesn't make sense because you pay for it now, and we have to host it for the next 50 years. But also servers get cheaper over time, so it's actually not that big a deal. I don't know. I know we could charge people for more stuff, but it makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. I feel that, if you buy a Tesla, I've got a friend with a Model 3, and he just gets updates all the time for free. Like Elon never
Right.
says, hey, you've got to pay extra to get this new feature in your car. It just works. And I feel Cryptovoxels are the same. Once you've paid the entry fee from us or from buying off the secondary market, you should just get all the latest versions of everything. It should get faster. It should run on more platforms. It should have better graphics. That's how I feel Cryptovoxels should work. And I totally appreciate that. And there are some things that make sense. And there are some things that maybe you use color for. So if we have cut like global illumination in the world, so like emitting blocks inside, colored blocks inside your parcel and stuff like that, that might get to the point where it's expensive to compute, and maybe you use some color to pay for stuff like that. But most features I'm not keen on making people pay extra for.
No, I think that's a great model and has served well so far. And I know some would disagree, sorry, Jen, but I was really thankful when I saw color kind of get opened up to everyone. And I think there was a
Yeah,
huge boom after that. And then, of course, the next boom was wearables, just because people do want to express themselves in like all of these funny, crazy ways. So I think both of those are definitely more two booms for CV.
I should put a massive shout out here to Trizlet, because he really holds down the
Oh,
wearables. Like
yeah,
he's
he
the one
does.
who mints them all, and you do fantastic work, Trizlet, and you are so I was going to say passionate, patient with
Patient.
me. So patient with me, because there are bugs with wearables doing there for such a long time, and we will fix them. I guarantee it. And we've even started work on them. But yeah, thank you for your patience.
Yeah, and the wearables are awesome. Everyone agrees with that. If anyone has more questions that we haven't covered, please feel free and ask them. I don't want to take up too much of your time, Ben. I know you've got a lot to do. So let's do the last few questions that come in, and then also I do a like rapid fire question at the end with you
Hmm.
that is just really silly and nothing too serious.
No,
So
I like your rapid fire. That'd be awesome.
okay, cool. Let's see the other last questions that come in. Will there be a feature where landowners can select who can come in and out of their parcels? Maybe events needing a ticket NFT. So Elter123, we did talk about that a little bit before about like having an NFT that gives you access to certain areas. So yes, I'm gonna just answer yes. That would totally be possible. A thank you to Trizlet, totally. Um, Spidey Monkey said I'd pay for texture packs, Spidey Monkey's been talking about texture packs for a while, or even like voxel packs would be pretty cool. Like,
It's funny when you build stuff. Like I built my little thing for my musical project called Skeezy Vibes today, and I did everything that you could do by clicking the buttons, but without creating any content and copying URLs from Midjourney and stuff. Because it's just kind of this mental leap of it's easy. You can go into Sketch and you can draw a cool tile or find some tiles and upload and fuck around. It's just a little bit of a faff. And so I think having texture packs or a library of free voxels, free texture, stuff like that, which are all just available Creative Commons licensed and they're in the menu, would be great because it's really nice to just be able to build quickly and not have to go to that whole cognitive leap of leaving, going to your desktop app, doing stuff, putting on Imager, copying URLs over. So yeah, I think texture packs and stuff like that's a really cool idea. We'll probably do a lot of them for free. It's the same with dances. Marcus has been doing lots of dancing and scanning them in, and we'll probably make all those available free for now. We'll make them NFTs eventually, but I just think we need a good base library of free available stuff for people.
awesome, good idea. Um, CV feels Samsonite. CV feels so cool and punk rock to me versus other worlds. Awesome, agreed. I think
Awesome,
the
thank you.
better sound we get for streaming and meetings, etc., will really help onboard more people. Totally agree. And I know you launched the boombox today, right? The speaker. Sorry,
Yeah, so
you
the speaker
froze for
came
a
out
second.
yesterday. So me and yeah, no, yeah. So the boombox just got released yesterday, and people trying it out. Matthew was trying it out at his Token Smart event today, and there were some issues with it. So Matt's going to do more work on it. Matt does all that audio stuff. He's done amazing work on it. So yeah, the boombox stuff is come out today, and we've been using it, and it works really well. It's super high quality. It's really quite easy to stream and world. We've changed how the soundscape works. Matt's got this amazing soundtrack, which hasn't been playing for the last couple of months because I buggered something out with the code. So that's getting released in the next couple of days. So when you leave a parcel and walk on the street, there'll be this really kind of cool banging electro soundtrack. We're
Oh,
getting
cool.
rid of that wind whistling noise in the background. That's all
Yeah.
that's just being nerfed. Um, yeah, and we're just going to do a little bit of work on the audio and kind of make it better and better and better. Yeah, I love that kind of punk rock aesthetic of that Cryptovoxels has. Yeah, it's cool. It doesn't feel like a kind of a golden palace or anything. It feels like a very kind of broken down, gritty kind of techno world, and I like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Another comment was Brooke Hawk, a Vox library with basic stuff like trees, tables that newbies can build right away, which we've talked about for a while. I'd love to see
Yeah,
that. And there's some people chiming in, Easy in Crypto, that he would definitely donate like plants and stuff to that.
yeah, that'll definitely happen. I should have been writing all this stuff down. Is this recorded on your
Yep,
Twitch,
it's
Josie?
on Twitch and then it
Okay,
goes up
yeah, I'm
on
gonna.
YouTube so that it never expires.
Cool, thank you. I'm gonna go back through this and write down everything that I promised to do in this talk.
We're counting. Dow Records said I had feedback issue when someone else talks. Like when you hold V, you have to like make sure you let go of V, or else you can hear both. Like you get weird feedback.
Oh,
And I think
okay,
the issue doesn't happen when you have headphones in, but it does happen
okay.
when you don't, because I think your speaker is playing both. It gets really loud and weird.
Okay,
Um,
I'll have a look at that. Thank you.
yeah.
Well, I'll get Matt to look at that. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, drop a note and bugs. Good idea. Thank you, Dow Records. I think that wraps up the questions. If you guys have other questions, just post in the Cryptovoxels Discord and we can get some conversations going. But this was super awesome. Thank you for just doing basically an AMA for the entire time. But I think that was the perfect thing for this, just because this is such a community focused project and you've always really highlighted that, and it's always been important to you. So I thought it was fitting.
Oh, thank you,
And
Josie. That's awesome. Thanks everyone
yeah,
for your questions.
yeah. I'm going to ask you the rapid fire questions now.
Yeah.
All right, Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Ethereum, absolutely.
Go back 1 year or forward 1 year?
Forward 1 year.
Last NFT or physical art piece that you purchased?
Oh gosh. Um, Pass. It was an NFT, but I can't remember what it was.
Okay. Morning person or night owl?
Morning person, weirdly. Yeah.
Yeah, you're always like going on runs in the morning, like watching the sunrise, and like, wow, you have really beautiful pictures that you post.
Thanks.
Um, Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs. Decentraland, Cryptovoxels, or Somnium?
Cryptovoxels.
Yep. Um, Window or aisle seat?
Window.
Window. Window crew. That's what most people say. Someone in the past or present in crypto that you'd like to meet?
I'd like to meet Vitalik again and not total fanboy like a tool and actually be
Yeah.
like, hey, your project's cool. I'll do stuff on your project. Let's talk. Instead, he was just like, okay, you're freaking me out, dude. And I was like, sorry, and I had to leave.
Wait, you were freaking him out? That's hilarious.
I was just way too awestruck, and I wish I'd been cooler about it.
That's so funny. He's such an interesting character.
Oh, he's lovely, yeah.
Yeah. Favorite food?
Mee goreng.
Say it again.
Mee goreng. It's like a Malaysian dish, I think. It's like
Okay.
kind of a
What
yeah,
kind of
like a
dish is
chick.
it?
What's a mee goreng? It's like a noodle, chicken noodle kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yum. Texting or calling?
Texting 100%. When people call me, it scares
Really?
me.
Were you scared to come on here? Or is the face to face not as scary?
Face to
Weird.
face isn't as scary. It's not. No, it's not. It's not talking that's scary. It's when the phone rings that is
Um,
the like. I'm like, oh, who's this
why are they
phone? What?
calling?
Why are they calling me? It must
Yeah.
be something really important. My dad ring up to say something unimportant.
Yeah. I'm going to the store. What do you want? Would you want to live forever?
If everyone I loved could as well, I think. If it was by myself, no.
That's an awesome answer. Haven't gotten that one yet. Describe the NFT space in 3 words.
Um, Man, that's hard. I want to say like lovely, beautiful artists, but like more like wondrous, like the art that they build. Lovely, beautiful art. That would be how I put it. Yeah.
That's awesome. And we are getting, that was the last question. We're just getting some awesome comments on the side. Spidey Monkey says, "We love you, Ben. Thanks for making such a cool world for us." And Easy in Crypto said that he's so grateful for the world that Ben gave us. Has truly been a lifesaver, especially in these times. He will live forever through CB. Um, Andrew Steinwald said, "I love how thoughtful Ben is." Yeah, you are super thoughtful, and even when there are like some like shit going down in Discord, I feel like people are still at the end of the day, obviously, really excited to be up this or in this project and have stuck together for so long for the community, for what you're building, for all the ideas that you have behind it. We're all super thankful and just happy to be a part of it. So thanks for doing all that you do and taking time for things like this to chat with the community. We all really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Josie. Thanks for having me on, and thanks to everyone who's watching. It's yeah, thank you everyone who joins the world, and yeah, let's just keep rocking along and seeing how exciting and big and crazy this gets.
Yeah, and I will say for anyone watching that has not, if you have not built in Cryptovoxels yet and you want to, I myself, and I know a lot of other people in the chat that have empty land that would be more than happy to let you be a contributor on our land and build whatever you want. So reach out to me and I can hook you up. And if I run out of land to hook you up with, someone else can. But it's always a super kind of open arms community. So just reach out if you have questions. And I did want to say, because it was distracting me earlier, I saw that you have my sticker on your door. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I do, and I've got
I was
I've
like,
got
is
the
that my sticker?
like there's
Oh,
one there and there's one there and there's
oh,
this the
sweet.
cyborg lady out and we've got it block mounted and it's out in the lounge. Oh
I love
yeah, I
that.
totally put up there thinking one day I'll be on a video call and someone will see it and they'll get the connection and it was you, so that's
Yeah,
cool.
sweet. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Ben. Thank you, everyone, for being in the chat and being super active and awesome, per usual. I appreciate it. And we'll see you in Cryptovoxels.
Yeah, see you all soon. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.